Yet suddenly the entire energy of the room changed. You didn't meet an alpha. You didn't meet a beta. You met a sigma male, the lone wolf who doesn't follow the pack, yet always leads his own path. Sigma males are a unique breed. They embody strength without needing dominance. Psychology experts describe them as introverted alphas, men who possess leadership, confidence, and independence but don't need a crowd to validate them. Unlike alphas who thrive on status and hierarchy, sigmas operate outside the social pyramid altogether. I once knew a guy who barely spoke at meetings, never joined office parties, never bragged about accomplishments. Yet when he made a move, everyone watched. Quiet, calculated, unshakably confident, a walking paradox. People couldn't figure him out, but couldn't stop talking about him either. That's when I knew I had met a real sigma male. Here are 9 creepily accurate signs you just met one. Let's dive in. Number 1. His silence isn't awkward, it's dominant. You ever notice how some people can say more with their eyes than others can with a whole TED talk? That's the sigma male. He doesn't speak just to fill the air. He speaks to deliver. While most people fear silence in a conversation, sigmas thrive in it. Why? Because their silence has weight. It's intentional. It commands presence. Psychology studies show that people who use fewer words often come across as more confident and intelligent, because they only speak when it matters. A sigma male won't waste time with small talk or gossip. Instead, he listens, reads the room, and speaks with purpose. One sentence from him can silence a crowd, not because he's loud, but because his silence says, "I don't need to prove anything." And that, ironically, says, in a world full of noise, a sigma's silence roars louder than words ever could. Might show off expensive watches or designer labels to feel important. Sigmas dress for themselves and live by their own standards. They don't flex their money, they flex their mindset. Psychologists say that people who are truly confident tend to speak less and observe more. That's the sigma way. He speaks his truth, unapologetically. And if you connect with it, cool. If not, he won't stick around trying to convince you. He's the kind of man who walks into a high-end store in sneakers and earns more respect than the guy in a $10,000 suit. Why? Because real presence can't be bought, it's felt. And sigmas know that better than anyone. Number 3, he's unapologetically independent. The sigma male thrives in solitude, not as a rejection of others, but as a conscious choice for self-mastery. He doesn't avoid people out of fear or arrogance. He simply understands that growth often requires space. Neuroscience shows that solitude can boost creativity, improve memory, and enhance emotional regulation. In that quiet, the sigma male reflects, strategizes, and sharpens his skills. While others seek validation in crowds, he finds power in purpose. He teaches a vital truth. Success doesn't demand an audience. Real strength isn't loud. It's forged in discipline, in silence when no one is watching. This kind of man doesn't need a fan club or a round of applause. He relies on his own internal drive. That's what makes him formidable. Not because he isolates, but because he transforms in isolation. It's not loneliness. It's leadership without noise. Alone, he becomes dangerous in the best and most focused way possible. Number 4, he looks right through you. You know that feeling when someone looks at you, not just at your face, but right into your soul. That's the power of a sigma male. Sigma males are incredibly perceptive. They don't just observe surface-level behaviors, they see through them. They pick up on your body language, your tone of voice, and even what remains unsaid. It's like having a conversation with someone who can already sense your truth, no matter how hard you try to hide it. This ability comes from their keen intuition and deep awareness of human nature. Sigmas are naturally attuned to the energy in a room, reading subtle cues that most others miss. Because of this, they don't buy into false facades. When you're around a sigma, the masks we wear for the world begin to slip away. You can't fool them. They see you for who you truly are. And that's part of what makes them so captivating. Number 5, he doesn't conform, ever. Sigma males are known for their ability to navigate social and professional landscapes without conforming to typical expectations. Office politics, they ignore them. Social pressure, they don't feel the need to fit in. What's cool today? It doesn't influence them. Sigma males don't rebel just for the sake of being rebellious. They don't play by the rules simply to be edgy. Instead, they challenge systems, asking the crucial question, why are we even doing this? Their questioning nature often leads others to rethink the status quo as well. They have a natural ability to remain independent, often becoming the outliers who don't easily fall into societal norms. This makes them the glitch in the matrix, an anomaly in a world full of conformity. It's not that they're trying to be different. It's that they genuinely don't see the point in following paths that don't resonate with their values. Number 6, he's mysterious, but not on purpose. A true Sigma male doesn't fabricate mystery. It's an inherent part of who he is. In a world dominated by oversharing on social media and people revealing too much too soon, the Sigma stands out by being selective about what he shares. He doesn't feel the need to broadcast his every move or personal detail. Instead, he keeps his life private, which adds a layer of intrigue. This natural air of mystery makes him magnetic to others. People are drawn to his calm demeanor and quiet confidence. They find themselves wondering more about him, eager to uncover what lies beneath the surface. When he leaves a room, it's not uncommon to hear whispers like, "Who was that guy?" The Sigma male's ability to remain reserved in a world of constant overexposure is what sets him apart, making him a captivating figure that people can't help but want to learn more about. Number 7. He commands respect without demanding it. Alphas may shout to get attention, but Sigma males don't need to. Their presence commands respect without effort because they live by a quiet strength. It's not about forceful dominance, but about acting with precision and purpose. When a Sigma enters a room, it's not about making noise. It's about creating an aura of self-assurance that others naturally recognize. This is why people tend to defer to Sigma males. They exude confidence that comes from within, not from external validation. Their vibe is calm, focused, and unwavering, making them stand out in any crowd without trying to. The key here is self-respect. When you possess it, others will subconsciously mirror your behavior. They'll treat you how you treat yourself, respectful, composed, and self-sufficient. Sigmas don't demand attention. They simply live in a way that makes people want to give it to them. That's the power of living authentically and confidently. Number 8. He's emotionally in control, not emotionless. People often mistake a Sigma male's calm demeanor for coldness, but those who truly understand him know that he feels deeply. Unlike others who might display emotional reactions impulsively, the Sigma male doesn't allow his emotions to control him. Instead, he remains composed, even in the most intense situations. Think of him as the eye of a storm. While chaos swirls around, he remains still and grounded. This doesn't mean he doesn't experience emotions. Rather, he has mastered the ability to observe them without being swept away. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings, but about recognizing them, processing them, and choosing how to respond. This self-discipline allows the Sigma male to navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. His calmness isn't indifference. It's a sign of emotional intelligence and control. When others are reacting from a place of fear or frustration, he's the one who stays centered. Number 9. He's a magnet for deep thinkers and lone wolves. Outliers, such as artists, rebels, and visionaries, are naturally drawn to Sigma males. These individuals are often considered unconventional, standing apart from societal norms. The reason behind this attraction is simple. Sigma males don't follow traditional paths. Instead, they create their own way, thriving in their authenticity. Unlike those who constantly seek validation from others or fit into the traditional mold, Sigma males value true, meaningful connections over superficial acceptance. This mindset creates an open space where authenticity and individuality can flourish. Instead of blending in with the crowd, Sigmas carve out their own path, which naturally draws those who share similar values and energy. Artists and rebels find a sense of belonging with Sigma males, because they recognize that being true to oneself is more important than conforming to societal expectations. This attraction is powerful because it allows outliers to connect with others who understand their journey and appreciate their unique perspectives. For anyone feeling disconnected or out of place, a Sigma male can help guide you toward your true tribe, a group of like-minded individuals where you can thrive free from the need for external approval. So Sigmas, if you found yourself nodding along, or if someone just popped into your mind with every single point, chances are you've met a real Sigma male, and maybe, just maybe, you are one. The Sigma male lifestyle isn't about rebellion, it's about freedom. Freedom to think differently, to walk alone, to lead without noise. So if you're ready to embrace these values, apply them to your life, and start living with more authenticity, clarity, and purpose, then you, my friend, are exactly where you belong. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and join this growing community of Sigmas around the globe. Let's make impact without the noise. Let's lead from the shadows. Let's live designed, not defaulted. Having said this, do you feel like the more you interact with people, the less you actually connect? Ever wondered why some people just can't stand big crowds, small talk, or endless social gatherings? If you've ever felt that intense urge to just leave a party or skip a meetup, then this video is for you. Picture this. You're at a party, surrounded by people laughing, chit-chatting and dancing, and yet there's this undeniable feeling that you just don't belong. You're not the life of the party, and frankly, you don't even care to be. You see people desperately trying to fit in, but it all feels so empty, and all you want is some peace and quiet, maybe with a good book or a cup of coffee, away from the noise. Now let's be honest, Sigmas. Don't pretend you haven't been there. You've probably had more moments where you cringe at the idea of forced interaction than you care to admit. But why is that? Why do intelligent Sigmas hate socializing? Well, here's the truth. Sigmas aren't like everyone else. They don't need to chase validation from others. They don't crave the spotlight or the endless small talk that seems to plague social events. They're comfortable being alone, and that's not a bad thing. It's a superpower. So today, let's explore 11 reasons why intelligent Sigmas hate socializing. Grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Number 1, the noise overload. You've probably experienced it before. The buzzing, the chatter, the laughter, and the endless gossip. All of it swirling around you, blending into one overwhelming noise that makes your head spin. For Sigma males, this kind of environment is not just tiring, it's downright draining. Sigmas by nature are introverts, and they thrive in silence and solitude. Unlike others who may find energy in social interactions, the constant stimulation of social events can feel like a mental assault for Sigmas. When surrounded by too many voices and too much noise, Sigmas struggle to focus. The constant stream of conversations makes it nearly impossible for them to think clearly or enjoy the moment. They might even retreat into themselves, seeking an escape from the sensory overload. For Sigmas, being in a crowded room can feel like a battle to hold on to their peace of mind. This need for peace isn't just a preference, it's essential for their well-being. Without the ability to retreat into quiet spaces, Sigmas risk becoming overwhelmed, stressed, and mentally fatigued. The silence of solitude is where they recharge, allowing their minds to process, reflect, and regain energy. It's in these moments of stillness that Sigmas can think deeply, make clear decisions, and focus on their personal growth. Ultimately, Sigmas need peace, not noise. They understand the importance of protecting their mental space and ensuring they have the time and environment to reset. For them, too much noise is not just a nuisance, it's a barrier to their clarity and focus. Number 2, the small talk trap. Small talk. We've all been there, right? You walk into a room and someone greets you with the usual, "Hey, how's it going?" or "What's new?" While these questions are meant to break the ice, for Sigma males, they feel more like an obstacle than a conversation starter. Sigmas are not fond of engaging in shallow or repetitive exchanges because they believe that time is valuable and small talk doesn't offer much of a reward. For Sigmas, social interactions are an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. They crave substance and authenticity in their conversations, valuing genuine connections over surface-level exchanges. Whether it's discussing philosophy, the latest discoveries in science, or even deep introspective thoughts, Sigmas are naturally drawn to topics that challenge their minds and align with their values. These conversations not only stimulate their intellectual curiosity, but also allow them to feel more aligned with themselves and others. On the other hand, small talk can feel draining to Sigmas. It's often seen as a necessary evil in social situations, but it's not something they actively seek out. They'd rather sit in silence than engage in a conversation that feels forced or meaningless. This preference stems from a strong sense of self-awareness and a desire to use their time wisely. Sigmas understand that real growth happens in meaningful conversations, not in repeating the same scripted greetings. So next time you find yourself at a gathering where the conversation feels more like a performance than a real connection, remember that Sigmas are probably just waiting for that moment when the conversation finally dives into something that matters. Number 3, fitting in feels fake. Sigmas are known for their authenticity, and this trait makes them stand out in a world that often pressures people to conform. Socializing can sometimes feel like a game of pretending, nodding along to conversations that don't interest you, agreeing with opinions to avoid conflict, or wearing a mask to fit into certain social circles. Sigmas, however, refuse to play that game. They don't mind being the odd one out because they're more focused on being true to themselves than on seeking approval from others. This authenticity is not about rebellion for the sake of it. It's rooted in self-confidence. Sigmas are comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel the need to pretend to be someone they're not, just to fit in, or to make others comfortable. This is what sets them apart from most people who may feel the need to follow social norms to avoid rejection or judgment. Sigmas know that conformity doesn't lead to fulfillment, it only leads to a lack of self-expression. Being unapologetically yourself requires a strong sense of self-worth, and Sigmas have mastered this. They don't let the opinions or expectations of others dictate their actions. This can make them seem aloof or distant to some, but in reality, they are simply not interested in compromising who they are for the sake of social approval. In a world that celebrates blending in, Sigmas stand out because they refuse to play by the rules of societal conformity. They embrace individuality and show others that true confidence comes from being authentic, regardless of external pressure. And this in turn often draws people to them as they radiate the kind of self-assurance that others admire. Number 4, energy drain. It's no secret that social interactions take a toll on Sigma males. While many thrive in social environments, Sigmas tend to feel drained by them. Engaging with others, particularly in large groups, is often like emptying their emotional battery. Unlike extroverts who gain energy from socializing, Sigmas recharge in solitude. They find peace and strength in quiet, reflective moments where they can process their thoughts and regain their mental clarity. This need for personal space is rooted in the way Sigmas process their emotions. When surrounded by others, especially in busy or noisy settings, their minds can become overstimulated. Over time, this overstimulation can lead to emotional fatigue. It's a stark contrast to how extroverts function. Where social interactions fuel their energy, Sigmas tend to feel drained after extended periods of socializing. What makes the Sigma experience even more unique is their heightened awareness of their energy. They deeply value their inner peace and well-being. For them, spending time alone is essential, not just for recharging, but also for maintaining emotional balance. It allows them to reflect, analyze their experiences, and regain their focus. Without enough alone time, Sigmas can feel irritable or overwhelmed. This is why many Sigma males avoid large social gatherings or any situation that demands excessive interaction. They prefer intimate settings, one-on-one conversations, or quiet activities that allow them to stay grounded. It's not about rejecting social connection. It's about ensuring they preserve their energy and emotional health. For a Sigma, solitude isn't a sign of loneliness. It's an essential practice to stay at their best. Understanding this need for solitude can help others respect and appreciate the balance that Sigmas strive to maintain. Number 5, lack of depth in social interactions. How many times have you found yourself sitting in a room full of people, caught in conversations about the latest trends, celebrity gossip, or trivial drama? It's easy to feel disconnected in such situations. For many, it can be a mind-numbing experience. Sigmas, however, don't share the same enthusiasm for shallow banter. They're not here for small talk. Instead, they crave conversations that engage their minds and spark deeper thoughts. Sigmas are naturally drawn to meaningful discussions that challenge their intellect. Whether it's philosophy, psychology, or thought-provoking ideas, these are the types of exchanges that excite them. They prefer to explore topics that stretch their understanding, broaden their perspectives, and push the boundaries of their knowledge. To a Sigma, anything less feels like a waste of time. They're not interested in conversations that skim the surface. They want to dive deep into subjects that offer new insights and provoke critical thinking. This preference stems from the Sigma's unique approach to life. While others may enjoy the comfort of familiar, shallow exchanges, Sigmas find fulfillment in discussions that allow them to grow mentally and emotionally. It's not about keeping up with the latest gossip or fitting in with the crowd. It's about finding value in every interaction. Conversations with Sigmas are often rich with ideas, questions, and perspectives that stimulate growth. They believe that true connection happens when people engage at a deeper level, and that's the kind of connection they seek, one that challenges them, inspires them, and leaves them thinking long after the conversation ends. So the next time you're with a Sigma, don't be surprised if they steer the conversation toward topics that make you think. For them, that's where the real value lies. Number 6, judging the social hierarchy. Sigmas have a unique ability to see through the games people play to gain social status. In social situations, they can immediately recognize the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, power plays happening around them. Whether it's someone subtly trying to one-up another, bragging about their achievements, or using connections to manipulate situations, Sigmas are keenly aware of these dynamics. Unlike others who might feel compelled to engage in these behaviors, Sigmas simply observe. What sets Sigmas apart is their indifference to the concept of social status. While others often hustle to climb the social ladder, Sigmas don't feel the need to play the game. They're not driven by the desire for validation or approval from others. This lack of concern for social ranking often creates a sense of disconnection in social settings. While others jockey for position, Sigmas stand apart, comfortable in their own skin and uninterested in the approval of the crowd. This detachment from the social hierarchy makes Sigmas incredibly self-reliant and emotionally independent. They are less affected by societal pressures or judgments because they don't derive their sense of worth from social acceptance. Instead, they focus on personal growth, inner peace, and meaningful connections, which they value far more than status or accolades. In a world where social games often define interactions, Sigmas stand as a reminder that true worth comes from within, not from climbing an artificial ladder. They see social hierarchy for what it is, a game they don't need to play. Their ability to stay grounded and detached from these superficial dynamics is one of the defining traits that make them so intriguing. Number 7, the fear of being misunderstood. Sigmas are often seen as the lone wolves of society, standing apart from conventional social norms. They are independent thinkers whose ideas, emotions, and perspectives tend to be deeper and more complex than most people realize. This makes them unique, but it also means they may face challenges in social interactions. Sigmas often perceive the world differently, and when they try to communicate their thoughts in social settings, their deeper, more introspective nature may be misunderstood. In social environments, Sigmas risk being misinterpreted. Their preference for solitude or selective socializing can lead others to view them as distant or even rude, even though this is far from the truth. Sigmas do not seek constant validation from others. Their confidence comes from their own thoughts and values, which is why they don't feel the need to explain themselves. For this reason, they may avoid social events that require conformity, preferring to stay true to themselves and build meaningful connections. Number 8, the need for personal space. Sigma. Males cherish their personal space, valuing solitude as an essential part of their lifestyle. For them, it's not about being antisocial or avoiding interaction, but rather about creating room for personal growth and reflection. Whether it's a quiet corner in their home or a secluded spot in a park. These spaces are their sanctuaries. They thrive when they can disconnect from the noise of the world and focus inwards. Socializing can sometimes feel like an intrusion on this sacred space. Sigmas are not typically fans of crowded gatherings or forced interactions, especially when it means compromising their ability to recharge and process their thoughts. For them, time alone is crucial to maintain balance and clarity. This need for personal space is also tied to their ability to grow and reflect. Without the constant external influence of others, Sigmas can dig deeper into their own thoughts, explore their ideas, and cultivate their sense of self. It's through this solitude that they come to understand the world around them and their place in it. So while they may seem distant at times, it's not about isolation. It's about creating the mental space to evolve and be true to themselves. Number 9, inability to relate to superficial lifestyles. Sigma males often find themselves at odds with the superficial aspects of society. While many people place great value on material possessions, the latest trends and social events, Sigmas tend to care very little about these things. Their focus is primarily on personal growth, knowledge, and pursuing meaningful endeavors that align with their values. For them, it's not about keeping up with the latest fashion or attending the hottest parties. It's about constantly striving to better themselves. This disconnect often leaves Sigmas feeling out of place in social settings, where conversations revolve around the next trend or status symbol. Instead, they gravitate toward deeper, more purposeful discussions, seeking to learn, grow, and contribute to causes that matter. Their mindset is driven by a sense of purpose, not the fleeting excitement that others chase. In essence, Sigmas are motivated by internal fulfillment, not external validation. Number 10, emotional disconnect. Sigmas are known for their high emotional intelligence, but this doesn't mean they connect with everyone emotionally. In fact, they tend to keep their emotions guarded, which can create a sense of emotional distance from others. This isn't because they're incapable of forming deep connections. It's more about their preference to avoid emotionally draining interactions. While many people might interpret this emotional distance as aloofness or coldness, Sigmas simply prioritize their emotional well-being. They are selective about who they open up to, choosing only those who bring positivity and emotional balance into their lives. By setting boundaries and protecting their emotional energy, Sigmas maintain a level of emotional clarity that helps them navigate relationships more effectively. This approach allows them to conserve their inner peace, ensuring they don't become overwhelmed by unnecessary emotional turbulence. It's not about being distant, it's about being intentional with who and what they invest their energy in. Number 11, fear of losing their identity. Sigmas understand the importance of preserving their sense of self in a world that often pressures people to conform. They recognize that excessive socializing, trying to please others, or constantly adapting to social norms can gradually diminish their authenticity. By putting themselves in social situations where they feel they have to fit in, they fear losing their true identity. This is why Sigmas are very selective about the interactions they engage in. They seek solitude or environments that allow them to recharge and stay connected to their core values. Being constantly surrounded by societal expectations can create internal noise, making it harder to focus on personal goals and desires. Sigmas intentionally avoid this by guarding their individuality and nurturing their personal space. They value self-reliance, introspection, and independence, ensuring that their identity remains intact despite external pressures. For Sigmas, being true to themselves is a non-negotiable aspect of life. Sigmas, I hope this video gave you some insight into why intelligent Sigmas often avoid socializing. It's not that we hate people, it's just that we're not willing to sacrifice our time, energy, or identity for superficial connections. If you're a Sigma, embrace your need for solitude and remember that true connection comes from quality, not quantity. If you resonated with this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and join the Sigma community. Let's continue to thrive in our individuality and live on our own terms. Stay true and stay Sigma. 5 seconds. That's all it takes for a Sigma brain to decide. Whether to detach or stay loyal, whether to fight or disappear into the shadows. Now let me ask you, Sigmas, have you ever felt like someone was slowly draining the life out of your mind while smiling to your face? Like every silent judgment, every manipulative word was designed to chip away at who you are. Let me take you into a story. He was the quiet storm, independent, focused, emotionally intelligent, a man who didn't crave the spotlight but always knew exactly who he was. Until one day, she walked in. She didn't shout, she didn't hit, but every day she made him feel less. She made jokes about his solitude, mocked his independence, called his silence weakness. And slowly, piece by piece, the Sigma began to unravel. But here's the bold truth. When you emotionally abuse a Sigma male, you don't break him. You awaken something powerful within him. Welcome to today's video. This is what happens to Sigma brain when they are emotionally abused. This isn't just a story, it's a revelation, it's a warning. And it's a blueprint for every Sigma who's ever been misunderstood, manipulated, or mistreated. Let's break it down. Number one, the Sigma brain, a fortress of thought. Sigmas aren't like the average guy. Their minds aren't built for emotional chaos. They're engineered for precision, reflection, and quiet strength. While others may react to emotional abuse with yelling, tears, or confusion, Sigmas respond in a more calculated way. They don't explode, they observe, they study, and they remember. Think of it like this. Being in a toxic relationship for a Sigma is like watching a psychological thriller unfold in real time, except they're also the detective. Their emotional intelligence isn't loud, but it's highly tuned. Research shows that people with introverted, analytical personalities often process emotions more deeply than extroverts, which makes Sigmas hyper-aware of subtle manipulation tactics like gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and blame-shifting. When emotional abuse begins, the Sigma doesn't always call it out immediately. They're gathering data, how often the manipulation occurs, how it's delivered, and how it's disguised. A Sigma might quietly think, did she just twist my words and make it look like it's my fault? That's when the internal alarm starts to go off. What makes Sigmas different is that they don't internalize the abuse. They don't believe the lies, they decode them. And once the pattern is clear, the mental boundaries snap into place. It's not a fight. It's a silent exit strategy. Studies in cognitive psychology support this kind of response. People with high levels of self-awareness and independence, traits common in Sigma males, are less likely to become trapped in abusive cycles. They're not reactive, they're responsive. They may not say much, but trust. They're already 3 steps ahead. So while others are caught in the emotional web, the Sigma is quietly cutting the threads, planning his way out, and leveling up. He doesn't just survive emotional abuse, he learns from it and refuses to repeat it. Number 2, emotional abuse triggers their inner lone wolf. At first, the Sigma male might try to adapt. He'll question himself, wondering if he's being too cold or too distant. That's because Sigmas are introspective by nature. They're thinkers, analyzers, always examining their place in the world and how they affect others. But here's the turning point. Once the Sigma realizes the emotional discomfort isn't coming from within but from subtle manipulation or emotional games, he doesn't just step back, he shifts entirely. He goes full lone wolf mode. And when a Sigma disappears emotionally, you'll never find your way back in. This isn't about being dramatic, it's about self-preservation. Emotional withdrawal is not a tantrum, it's a quiet, deliberate strategy. Psychologists call this response detachment with awareness. It's common among people who value emotional clarity and independence. Unlike avoidance, which stems from fear, this kind of withdrawal is rooted in strength. The Sigma male isn't escaping, he's protecting his peace. He withdraws, not out of weakness, but as a calculated move of self-protection. Studies in behavioral psychology have shown that individuals who are highly self-reliant tend to disengage from toxic social dynamics rather than confront them with emotional volatility. This doesn't mean they don't care, it means they know the value of their energy and won't waste it on games. If you've ever been made to feel guilty for your boundaries, your solitude, or your independence, remember this: solitude is not a flaw. In a world addicted to constant connection, the ability to be alone without being lonely is a superpower. And for the Sigma male, it's his core strength. He doesn't isolate because he's broken, he separates to stay whole. Number 3, they begin to rewire their identity. Emotional abuse can either break a person or reveal who they truly are. For Sigma males, it's almost always the latter. While most people might crumble under constant manipulation, gaslighting, or belittling, Sigmas respond differently. Their solitude-loving, introspective nature gives them the perfect environment to transmute pain into power. When a Sigma goes through emotional abuse, they don't waste time seeking validation from the abuser or the crowd. Instead, they do what they do best: retreat, reflect, and rebuild. It's like upgrading their mental operating system. Books become their weapons, knowledge their shield. Neuroscience backs this up. Reading activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain involved in emotional regulation and decision-making. Meditation, that's not just a buzzword. It's been shown to physically change the brain, thickening the grey matter in areas linked to resilience and self-awareness. They start journaling, which psychologists have found helps process trauma, reduce stress, and improve mood. The gym becomes therapy. Exercise releases endorphins and improves brain chemistry. Countering the emotional fog abuse often leaves behind. Then comes the real breakthrough, rediscovering their core self. The version that existed before the manipulation, before the guilt trips, before someone tried to convince them they were too cold, too distant, or too hard to love. And when that version returns, it's not just restored, it's enhanced. Imagine the Sigma walking into a room again, no longer needing to explain themselves, no longer second-guessing their boundaries. Coffee, black, eyes clear, energy unreadable. They quote Nietzsche not to sound smart, but because they've lived it. That which does not kill me makes me stronger is no longer a quote. It's a lived experience. Sigmas don't just bounce back from emotional abuse, they bounce higher, sharper, and more focused. Because the truth is, emotional abuse never destroys a Sigma, it just sharpens their edges and makes them even more untouchable. Number 4. They develop an unshakable emotional firewall. One of the strangest and most powerful effects of emotional abuse is that it teaches the Sigma male exactly what not to tolerate ever again. While emotional abuse can be deeply painful, it acts like a forge, refining the Sigma mind through fire. Each toxic experience becomes a mental blueprint of what must be avoided at all costs. Every subtle manipulation, every passive-aggressive message, every guilt trip wrapped in the illusion of love. The Sigma doesn't just endure it, he analyzes it, stores it, and builds an internal firewall against it. It's like emotional antivirus software. Every red flag gets detected within seconds. Where others might excuse bad behavior or second-guess themselves, the Sigma has been through the storm and now recognizes the warning signs without hesitation. This heightened awareness is not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Research in psychology shows that those who have experienced emotional abuse often develop sharper emotional intelligence and stronger boundaries over time, especially if they are introspective. Sigma males, being naturally independent and analytical, use their experience as data to upgrade their emotional operating system. Fake apologies noted and rejected, performative vulnerability decoded and dismissed, conditional affection identified and shut down. Emotional abuse doesn't destroy their ability to trust, it just recalibrates their radar. They no longer give people the benefit of the doubt by default. Instead, trust is earned through consistent action, not empty words. This is where Sigma males become emotionally untouchable, not because they are cold or distant, but because they are emotionally precise. They can love deeply, but not foolishly. They can empathize, but not be exploited. So, in a strange twist, emotional abuse becomes a kind of cruel teacher, and though the lessons are harsh, the Sigma emerges stronger, smarter, and sharper. Not broken, refined. Number 5, they channel the pain into purpose. Here's where Sigmas rise. While the average person might get trapped in emotional loops, resentment, self-doubt, or victimhood, the Sigma male takes a different path. He doesn't wallow, he works. He channels pain into purpose, setbacks into strategy, and criticism into clarity. Sigmas understand a vital truth backed by psychology. Adversity can trigger post-traumatic growth. This is the phenomenon where individuals emerge from hardship not just resilient, but radically transformed. Sigmas lean into this process. They don't just recover, they rebuild. Where others see obstacles, Sigmas see openings. Heartbreak becomes a lesson in self-worth. Betrayal becomes a blueprint for stronger boundaries. Instead of reacting emotionally, they respond intelligently. That's why you'll often find Sigmas creating businesses, launching personal brands, writing books, sculpting their physiques, or carving out space where no one else dared. They aren't just healing, they're constructing legacies. Every insult they've heard, filed away and converted into fuel. Every manipulation they've endured, studied and turned into wisdom. Every tear they've shed, remembered and repurposed as a turning point. If you're buried in the ashes right now, wondering if this is the end, think again. The Sigma male doesn't rise like a phoenix. He doesn't wait for wings. He erupts like a volcano, quiet at first, then undeniable. When he moves, people feel it. There's power in that silence, in that inner grind, in knowing your story isn't over, it's just getting interesting. So the next time someone thinks they've broken a Sigma, they might want to look again, because he wasn't falling apart. He was just taking notes. And that comeback? It's going to be legendary. Are you channeling your pain into power today? Number 6, they no longer seek validation, they demand respect. Emotional abuse is one of the most destructive forces in a person's life, with its long-lasting effects often being felt deep within the psyche. One of the most painful aspects of emotional abuse is the erosion of self-worth. The constant undermining of your value, your voice, and your identity can leave you feeling invisible, questioning who you are and what you deserve. This is a journey that many, unfortunately, must endure. However, those who adopt the Sigma mindset, those who embrace their independence, choose to see through the lies and games that are played in toxic relationships. A Sigma male, someone who thrives on self-reliance and autonomy, reacts to emotional abuse differently than others. Instead of sinking into despair or trying to explain his silence, he simply stops participating in the cycle altogether. One of the key traits of a Sigma is an inner strength that does not rely on external validation. He no longer feels the need to explain himself or justify his actions to anyone. His silence is not a cry for attention, but a conscious choice to protect his peace and maintain his dignity. Furthermore, the Sigma male doesn't feel the need to seek understanding from those who refuse to see him for who he truly is. This lack of dependency on others' approval means that when someone attempts to put him down or question his worth, he doesn't take it personally. Instead of fighting for validation, he holds on to his inner certainty. He rises above petty criticisms and toxic behavior. He understands that the only approval that matters is his own. The true power of the Sigma mindset lies in its self-reliance and emotional resilience. The Sigma male becomes the standard for what it means to be untouchable, not in the sense of being unreachable, but in the sense of being impervious to the negative energy that others may try to project onto him. He becomes a benchmark of emotional strength, where the choice is simple. You either rise to meet him, or you get left behind. In his journey of healing, the Sigma does not seek others' acknowledgement. He heals not to seek approval, but to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. His healing is not for the sake of winning others over. It is for the purpose of becoming untouchable, impervious to emotional manipulation, and fully aware of his worth. Through this transformation, he embodies an emotional freedom that others may never understand. Number 7, they become teachers without trying. The beauty of Sigma males lies in their ability to heal and transform without drawing attention to it. Unlike others who may shout their struggles or share every detail of their journey, Sigmas quietly rebuild themselves and let their actions speak volumes. They don't need to broadcast their growth on social media or make grand declarations of self-improvement. Their healing process is subtle yet powerful, and it's reflected in how they live. Their peace is not a show, it's the foundation of their strength. When you've healed, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Your peace is intimidating because it's a reminder that you've mastered the art of inner calm, no longer disturbed by external chaos. It's this silent strength that inspires others to do the same, to stop reacting to the noise around them and find their own sense of peace. Their silence also teaches. In a world that constantly demands opinions and noise, the Sigma male's ability to remain composed and thoughtful is a lesson in itself. While others may rant and vent, the Sigma male listens, observes, and responds with intention. The silence becomes a mirror for others, showing them the power of restraint and the value of measured responses. And then there are their boundaries, clear, firm, and non-negotiable. A Sigma knows that self-respect starts with the respect of one's limits. By standing firm in their boundaries, they not only protect their energy, but also show others how to do the same. So no words are needed. Just by existing in their healed Sigma energy, they naturally attract respect and attention, guiding others without saying a word. Number 8, they attract what they deserve. After experiencing emotional abuse, Sigma males don't just move on, they elevate. They don't settle for the same old dynamics that drained them in the past. Instead, they become more selective about who they allow into their lives, and most importantly, their energy. This process of refining their circle is intentional and strategic. Much like a job interview, Sigmas approach interactions with a discerning eye, evaluating whether someone's values align with theirs. They carefully assess what's being said, but more importantly, they read between the lines, picking up on the subtleties in tone, body language, and intent. They know that red flags can often show up in a conversation long before any behavior becomes apparent. Sigmas develop a heightened awareness where they no longer fall for the superficial charm or polished words. Instead, they are tuned into the underlying frequencies of a person's energy. Are they genuinely interested in who you are, or are they just trying to get something from you? Are they respectful of your boundaries, or do they make you feel like you're constantly on edge? Healing in this context doesn't make them harder or colder. It refines them. It allows them to see things more clearly, sharpening their intuition. They no longer feel the need to chase connection or fit into someone else's narrative. Instead, they focus on creating alignment with those who resonate with their own sense of peace, authenticity, and growth. Sigmas come to understand that when someone is threatened by their calm, confident, and centered energy, it's a reflection of that person's internal struggles, not the Sigma's fault. As they embrace their newfound clarity, Sigmas unapologetically say, "If my vibe disturbs your toxicity, that's a you problem, sweetheart." They know that their peace is non-negotiable, and they'll protect it at all costs. Here's what you must remember, Sigmas. Emotional abuse may feel like a war against your mind, but the Sigma doesn't lose himself in the chaos. He finds his core. You become more strategic, more focused, more powerful. And when you walk away, it's not in pieces, it's on purpose, because the Sigma brain isn't designed to be destroyed. It's built to evolve, Sigmas. If this video lit something inside you, if it helped you see your journey in a new light, then hit that like button and smash that subscribe. This is more than a channel, it's a movement, a place where Sigma minds gather, sharpen, and rise together. Apply the Sigma qualities to your life, and you'll see how impactful independent living transforms everything, from your mindset to your relationships. Stay true and stay Sigma. What if I told you there's a breed of men so unpredictable, so unconventional, that society just can't figure them out? Ever been told you're weird just because you don't chase the crowd, or wondered why you're always misunderstood even though you're just being you? Once a guy walked into a room, didn't say a word, and yet every eye followed him. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, he just had this presence. That silent intensity, that Sigma energy, a quiet storm. That, my friends, was a Sigma male. And society didn't know what to do with him. Sigma males break all the traditional molds. They don't crave validation. They're not looking to dominate like alphas or follow like betas. Instead, they create their own lane and walk it, alone if they have to. Psychology even supports this. Studies in personality theory show that Sigma-like traits, such as high introversion, strategic independence, and deep thinking, often correlate with success in leadership and creativity. Today, we're diving into 12 crazy things Sigma males do that confuse everyone. These aren't just quirks, they're insights into a mind that values freedom over fame and depth over drama. Let's unravel this enigma and see what makes the Sigma male the ultimate wild card. Number 1, they disappear without warning and love it. Sigmas don't ghost, they vanish. 1 minute they're fully present, laughing at a joke or observing from the corner, and the next, gone. No warning, no dramatic exit, just silence. It leaves people confused, sometimes even offended, because most are conditioned to expect closure or a proper goodbye. But Sigma males aren't driven by social expectations. They move on instinct and inner alignment, not obligation. This behavior isn't about disrespect, it's about preservation. Sigmas are introverted alphas. They operate in bursts of social energy, but prolonged exposure drains them. Psychologically, this is rooted in how introverts recharge through solitude. Research from the Journal of Personality shows that introverts often experience social fatigue quicker than extroverts. For a Sigma, slipping away unnoticed is not a snub, it's a survival tactic. Their disappearing act is also strategic. Like Batman, they don't need the limelight. They observe, act, and retreat. And in that retreat, they regain clarity, recalibrate their focus, and come back stronger. It's not coldness, it's discipline. A Sigma male values his mental space more than meaningless small talk, and if that means vanishing without a trace, so be it. He isn't seeking approval, he's seeking peace. and that's his real power. Number 2, they ignore social hierarchies completely. CEO, janitor, influencer, farmer. Sigmas treat everyone the same, and that disrupts the very hierarchy society depends on. In a world built on titles, ranks, and social clout, this is radical. Most people are conditioned to either seek approval from those above them or exert dominance over those below. But Sigmas don't follow that script. They view everyone as human first. Whether you're cleaning the floors or closing million-dollar deals, they'll judge you by your integrity, not your status. This attitude confuses people. Why isn't the Sigma groveling before the CEO or trying to impress the Instagram star? Because they genuinely don't care about the label. They care about authenticity. Studies in psychology suggest that people with high levels of self-differentiation, those who maintain their identity regardless of social pressure, are less likely to be influenced by status games. That's Sigma behavior in a nutshell. Imagine a black tie event. While others swarm the rich and famous, the Sigma might be chatting with the janitor about philosophy or asking the bartender about his dreams. That's not rebellion, that's sincerity. And in a society addicted to power and validation, this kind of level-headed respect is not just rare, it's revolutionary. Number 3, they never ask for validation, ever. Sigmas are allergic to approval seeking, and that's not just a catchy phrase, it's a deeply rooted trait in their psychology. In today's digital age, social validation has become the currency of self-worth. People obsess over likes, retweets, and comments, often equating popularity with purpose. But Sigmas, they reject that game entirely. While the world is busy curating highlight reels, Sigmas are building the real thing, quietly, consistently, and without the need for applause. They don't post "felt cute," might delete later selfies because their identity isn't up for public vote. Their self-worth doesn't come from social media engagement, but from personal growth, achievements, and silent discipline. This behavior aligns with studies in psychology showing that those with an internal locus of control, people who believe they control their own destiny, tend to be more successful and emotionally resilient. It's confusing to outsiders because the Sigma's power doesn't scream, it whispers. They don't chase claps, they create waves. And here's the twist. That quiet confidence, it's magnetic. People are drawn to those who don't need validation to feel valuable. In a noisy world, Sigmas are the calm force that others can't help but notice. That's the real flex. Number 4, they love small groups or complete aloneness. Forget networking events or huge social mixes. Sigma males thrive in meaningful one-on-one conversations or deep solitude. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about rejecting anything inauthentic. Sigma males don't waste energy on surface-level chatter. They crave conversations that challenge ideas, stir emotions, and tap into real human experiences. Psychologists have noted that introverted personalities, especially those who exhibit high levels of self-awareness and independence, hallmarks of the Sigma archetype, tend to recharge in solitude. This downtime isn't emptiness, it's a mental reset. In those quiet moments, Sigma males aren't isolating, they're recalibrating, reflecting, and refining their next move. Research also shows that deep thinkers often require solitude to access creative insight. For Sigmas, this silence is sacred ground, the place where their most powerful ideas are born, and because they operate from such a centered internal place, people often struggle to read them. They don't project their emotions like others. Their energy is subtle but potent, tuned to a frequency few are aware of, let alone understand. So while others hustle for attention in crowded rooms, Sigma males are quietly building empires, either in deep dialogue or silent clarity. They don't need the spotlight, they are the signal in a world full of noise. Number 5, they're fierce observers, not big talkers. You'll often find a Sigma male sitting quietly, not awkwardly, but intentionally. While others might feel the need to chatter just to fill the air, the Sigma chooses silence with purpose. He's not disengaged, he's observing. Every glance, tone, and gesture is being logged in his mental database. He's reading the room like a chessboard, planning his next move, not for manipulation, but for precision. This behavior is rooted in strong emotional intelligence and heightened situational awareness. Studies in psychology show that people who listen more than they speak tend to make better decisions and are perceived as more trustworthy. That's exactly what the Sigma taps into, and then it happens. He speaks, not often, but when he does, it lands with weight. His words are measured, impactful, and often cut through the fluff with brutal honesty. This directness can make some uncomfortable, especially those used to sugar-coated conversations, but it also commands respect. People begin to realize his quiet isn't emptiness, it's calculation. His silence isn't shyness, it's strength. In a world full of noise, the Sigma's calm, deliberate presence stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. His silence is his strategy. Number 6, they make unpredictable life choices. That Sigma who left a 6-figure job to live in a cabin in the woods? Yeah, him. He's not crazy, he's calculated. Sigmas aren't interested in following society's well-worn blueprints. They follow something far deeper, purpose. While most are obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder, a Sigma pauses and asks, why are we all building the same life? Research shows that job satisfaction isn't always linked to salary. In fact, a 2022 study by McKinsey found that 70% of employees said their work defined their sense of purpose, not their paycheck. Sigmas understand this on an instinctive level. They chase freedom over fame, solitude over spotlight, and meaning over money. Their unpredictability makes them powerful. Society struggles to define them, and that's the point. While others seek validation, Sigmas move silently, driven by an inner compass few can comprehend. Their path isn't rebellious for the sake of it, it's intentional. Choosing to live in a cabin isn't about escaping life, it's about embracing it on their terms. That rare kind of boldness confuses some and inspires others. Because when a Sigma walks away from everything society values, he often discovers something far more valuable himself. Would you choose purpose over paycheck? Number 7, they're impervious to peer pressure. Sigmas don't care about fitting in, and that's one of the things that sets them apart. Unlike those who seek approval through conformity, Sigmas follow their own values, not the opinions of others. They don't dress to impress, they dress to express their true selves, reflecting their unique identity. Their choices aren't influenced by societal pressures or trends. They wear what resonates with them, not what's expected. When it comes to social interactions, Sigmas are authentic. They won't laugh at a joke simply to fit in, especially if it's not funny to them. They don't engage in surface-level conversations or pretend to agree just to avoid conflict. For Sigmas, authenticity is key, and they are willing to stand apart to stay true to themselves. This kind of independence can make others uneasy. People who thrive on conformity feel threatened by Sigma's refusal to comply with societal norms. But here's the thing, Sigma's authenticity is a gift to others. It frees those around them to be more genuine too. They inspire others to embrace their uniqueness and reject the pressure to conform, creating space for a more authentic and liberated environment for all. Number 8, they master many skills alone. Sigmas are the ultimate DIY warriors. Whether it's learning to play the guitar, coding an app, or picking up a completely new skill, Sigmas are the ones who dive in headfirst and learn everything on their own. They don't rely on formal education, classrooms, or instructors. Instead, they spend hours on tutorials, practice relentlessly, and push themselves to master new abilities in complete silence. Take learning an instrument, for instance. A Sigma will binge-watch tutorials for months, studying every technique, then practice every day until their fingers are sore. They're not seeking external validation. They do it because they're driven by personal growth and satisfaction. Similarly, if a Sigma decides to learn how to code, they'll spend time building their own apps, figuring out solutions to complex problems, and gaining expertise before ever asking for help or even showing anyone what they've been working on. Why do they do this? Because learning in silence is their superpower. Unlike those who need validation or external recognition to feel motivated, Sigmas thrive when they can explore their own interests quietly and independently. The process of self-teaching allows them to master skills without the pressure or distractions of others. There's no classroom environment, no need for approval, and no competition, just pure focus on personal growth. What others often don't realize is how quietly brilliant Sigmas are. While they might not flaunt their talents, when the time comes to showcase their skills, they do so with such confidence and mastery that it catches everyone by surprise. That's the Sigma way. Learn, master, and then quietly wow the world with their capabilities. Number 9, they challenge norms without raising their voice. Sigmas don't lead protests. Instead, they live rebelliously. Rather than demanding change through loud speeches or public demonstrations, they reject tradition quietly but powerfully. They make deliberate choices that defy societal norms, whether it's in their career, lifestyle, or appearance, often with a sense of calm confidence that makes it look effortless. This kind of silent rebellion is more impactful than it might seem. It doesn't need to be loud to be noticed. When a Sigma male rejects the standard path, whether it's in their unconventional career choices, unique fashion, or independent way of thinking, they send a clear message. It's a message that resonates deeply, especially in a world that often pressures individuals to follow the herd. What's fascinating about Sigmas is that their rebellion doesn't scream for attention, it simply exists. This quiet courage, this subtle defiance, confuses people because it's not aggressive, yet it's deeply inspiring. By living authentically, Sigmas show others that it's possible to break free from societal expectations and live life on their own terms. In doing so, they inspire others to find their own path of individuality and freedom. Number 10, they're friendly but impossible to get close to. People are drawn to Sigmas. Their intriguing, magnetic personalities capture attention, and their charm can be irresistible. However, just when someone thinks they've gotten close, the Sigma suddenly establishes distance, creating an emotional boundary that can leave one. They require authenticity, consistency, and time. This guarded approach can confuse others, especially when they mistake it for arrogance or aloofness. But for Sigmas, it's not about creating walls to keep people out. Instead, it's a protective measure designed to preserve their peace of mind. They understand that true connection comes only when mutual respect and trust have been established. And until then, they remain selective about who gets access to their vulnerable side. This balance of independence and trust is what makes the Sigma so compelling, yet elusive. Number 11, they value silence more than talk. Awkward silence? Not for Sigma males. In fact, silence is their secret weapon. While most people might feel uncomfortable during quiet moments, Sigmas thrive in them. Imagine spending an hour in complete silence with someone, yet feeling closer than after a long, drawn-out conversation. That's the Sigma experience. Many of us have been taught that meaningful connections require constant conversation, but Sigmas understand something deeper. They bond not through words, but through energy, presence, and vibes. They don't need to fill every space with talk. Their connection is felt, not heard. It's an unspoken understanding that creates a rare, genuine bond. Sigmas are masters of comfort in silence. They don't need to talk to prove their connection or validate their presence. This ability to be still and at ease is something that most people struggle with. In a world filled with noise and constant chatter, finding someone who can sit in silence with you and still share a strong bond is incredibly rare and real. This isn't about being distant or disinterested. Instead, it's about being so comfortable in one another's presence that silence becomes an intimate form of communication. It's a reminder that the most powerful connections don't always need words, just genuine energy. Number 12, they don't compete, they create. Sigmas aren't interested in competing with others. Instead, they're laser-focused on personal growth, striving to outdo themselves from the day before. While the world around them gets caught up in a cycle of comparison, Sigmas are busy shaping their future. They know that the real competition is with their own potential, and they channel their energy into breaking personal barriers and expanding their abilities. This mindset is both powerful and perplexing. It's powerful because Sigmas operate from a place of self